It looks like I'm live. Welcome everyone. This is a collective energy reading and it will be available forever or until this channel is no longer. As you come in to watch, be sure to like the video. It helps with the algorithm. And just as way of introduction today, the decks I'm going to be using for this reading are the Dark Goddess Tarot. The Dark Goddess will open our reading and kind of give a deeper, more natural approach to the reading, how we need to listen to nature. And I actually had the idea to do this reading today because I was on my commute home. I went to the office this week for the first time. I saw some trees that had very interesting spirit openings. And these openings are portals where spirits enter the world. And I just wanted to, kind of come on here, share some spiritual knowledge, do a reading for you all. So that's kind of what inspired it. Next, we're going to be also using the Voyager Tarot, which is my favorite deck. Incredible, just imaginative deck. And then lastly, we'll be using the Teal Swan Frequency Tarot, who will give us a frequency. So actually, I want to start with that deck. I misspoke earlier, so we'll start with that. And it's a live shuffle. Oh, so we had something come out. Okay, we had a number of cards come out. I'm taking the top two. I mean, they're all pretty. Should I take them all? Let's just be indulgent. Let's just take them all. They're all good cards, right? Okay. So, first card out is Spiritual Guide. Ooh, Spiritual Guide. So, frequency of spiritual guide, spiritual guidance, look for lessons, messages from your ancestors, hints of what direction you need to be going in are present now. Listen for people whose names are the same as your ancestors. They will have things to reveal to you, deeper truths. Also, I don't know if I want to get into all of that. It's very deep, my inspiration for this video, but it just brought me back to that. So the dead are speaking to you. The dead, the natural world. Do you listen and do you talk back? Many people think that it's complicated to talk to spirits. But all you need to do is start talking. Get over yourself and start speaking to them because they will speak to you if you are truly listening. And if you're truly listening, you aren't expecting to hear a message a certain way. Okay? Listen for what they show you, what they reveal, the secrets, those little pieces, hints here and there that remind you of the deeper things that you were trying to learn and know. Kitty, you're welcome to join the reading. Okay, so next card is Integrity. Number 25. Oh, the number here is 57, if that resonates for anyone. And then 25, Integrity. The quarter, it's your cornerstone. Your cornerstone, the rock that the builder forgot. Do you remember the lessons from childhood, the cornerstone? Do you understand that maybe you have not found a place yet because you were being prepared for something even bigger? Get back over here. Come on, come say hi. Anyway, yeah. You know, kitties, they have to make the noise. They have to do what they do. All right, self-exploration is the next card, 51, self-exploration. This card is about revealing inner truths, understanding that the world around you is a reflection of who you are. Are you listening to it? Are you seeing what it's showing you? What experiences are you having? And what are they saying about you? Who are you in those experiences? Next out, we have nurture. Nurture. And there's Nautilus on this card, so that's pretty incredible. Fibonacci sequence comes to mind, perfect spirals, patterns, symmetries. What does perfection look like? How much time does it take? Eventually something will have to happen, but the more you nurture something, the thicker, the fuller it will grow, the bigger it will become. What are you nurturing? You know, it's funny, I got out all of the booklets to go with the cards because I thought I might want to work off of those, but I'm not really feeling drawn that way. I don't know exactly what Teal's meanings are behind these, but with a reading, it's what I think. And I think all of these messages, all of these frequencies are good frequencies to be on at this time, okay? Be nurturing. Explore yourself. Learn more about yourself. Be open to becoming more. What are your limitations? And are they self-imposed? We talked about that in my last video. You can go check that out. 25, integrity. Are you being true to you? Be true to you, boo. Be true to you. How do you do? I'm being true to me, and I want you to be true to you. Okay, spiritual guides. So seek guides. It may be, hey, I'm here for you, right? If you need some guidance, you can always book a reading with me or anybody else, But think about it. Think about taking on new guides. Think about taking on some assistance with what you're doing. Maybe you need another pair of eyes. All right, so now we're gonna switch on to the dark goddess and see which dark goddess, comes out. Oh no, I can't pronounce this one. Oh goodness. Let's see if it's in this booklet. Now Vesta, I'm familiar with her. Vesta, she represents the Ace of Fire in this deck. So Vesta, I remember she is the goddess of the hearth. And she's interesting to me because she had the temple with the Vestal Virgins, which are an interesting, they occupied an interesting traditional priestess role in ancient Rome, the Vestal Virgins. They kept her sacred fire burning, and they had to remain virgins their entire life, or until they retired, which was, in those days, most of your life that you gave to the service of the goddess Vesta. So anyway, fire energy, deep potential of igniting passion at this time. I mean, we're in Aries season. It's cardinal fire. It's that spark, that electric spark, that quick recognition, the action before thought at times. And this is tempered with this goddess, who, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce her name. It's spelled SCATHAC. Skathak is my Skathak. I'll see if it's found in here because I don't know much about her, but she represents here the 6 of air, So that's fire and air energy. Okay, come on. We're going to find it. Water, air. Here we go, air. We're close. Okay, so it's skauach. Okay, or sometimes called skota. Sometimes I'm familiar with skota. Okay, is the Irish and Scottish goddess of arts, of battle, healing, and magic. The great warrior goddess's name means she who strikes fear. She is known as the shadowy one and the dark goddess, and she lives on a distant and mysterious isle. She welcomes to her land only those who make an effort to get there. Oh, girl, I understand that. I'm the same way. On her helm are the wings of a goose, the symbol of a Celtic warrior, as the goose is both alert and aggressive, making it an excellent guardian. Okay. When she appears, prepare for challenges ahead. If you do not have a sense about what they are, keep strengthening your position in the ways that you know work until the path ahead becomes clear. Take the time it takes to learn something or get somewhere. A leapfrog over the process does not succeed. Oh, I've learned that so much the past couple of years. Patience allows you to integrate key concepts and notice details that you may otherwise overlook. And I'll stop reading from the book there about this goddess. But, you know, this is about intellectual traveling, if you were, learning deeper things, learning new things. It requires you to go out of your comfort zone. It requires you to leave behind that which you know, to go towards that position of being in the vulnerable. It's a vulnerable position, isn't it? To not know something. Of course he needs attention. I was gone all day. But you know what? He did get attention. Okay? He got fed. We played together. We even cuddled. Okay? So it's just him, you know, he's just acting in his way, guarding the gates. Okay? Why don't you come here? We're talking about him. You notice he's quiet then. Well, now that he's gotten everybody's attention, you've got everyone's attention. We have to go beyond ourselves. We have to go beyond what we know. And that means taking chances, getting rejected, feeling uncomfortable, feeling vulnerable, opening ourselves up to all of that. And the symbol of the goose, because that's also, they migrate. They're a migrating creature, you know? Think about it in terms of migration. Maybe you need to migrate. Maybe it's time to move out of your bubble a little bit at this time. Maybe it's time to make treks or trips that you wouldn't have done recently. I think a lot of people have been kind of stuck in a routine, and to me, she also symbolizes getting out of a rut. So thank you, Dark Goddess. I should read about Vesta, shouldn't I? Let's read about Vesta. Because I shared what I know about Vesta, but let's see what they have to say about her here. And she was the fire, the ace of fire. Okay. Okay, so she's the goddess of fire and the hearth. She's quiet, strong, and serious. She dresses in modest robes of undyed wool and is shown standing in front of her temple, sacred fire and fuel in her hands. The fuel is gathered branches carefully bound together to create that which will burn longer than a haphazard pile of sticks. A virgin whole unto herself, when her brother Jupiter offers her to give her anything she desires, Vesta asks to remain unmarried. She also asks for the first part of every sacrifice, to honor the spirit and power of the fire, the hearth, and all that has been made possible by gathering around it. Whether in a grand temple or in a humble home, the first part of all oblations to the gods is given back to the fire herself. Good fortune follows when the offering crackles and speaks as it burns. Okay, and so when she appears, the situation in question has deep roots and a bright future. The grounding of the one and the inspiration of the other work together for success. When what you want arises from your elemental spirit, let it find some expression. Acknowledge this desire or risk your spirit fading away. You need to feed your flame. So yes, I think, what I'm sensing from this is about following our passion and feeding it, nurturing it, making it a big part of who we are, whatever our passion is. You can have a passion about a lot of things. You don't just have to have a passion about like what you're doing or your hobby, or it can be a friendship, it can be a community, it can be a place. Okay, so I'm going to respond to the chat before we move on. Actually, let's do a little intermission because the kitty, what you doing? Wow, did I put my water there? That's not safe. That's not safe. Why'd she put her water there? He can knock it over there. I'm sorry. No wonder you're mad at me. You want to come over here? You want to come say hi? I made a sacred space. You want to get up here? Sacred space, yeah. Every sacred space needs black kitty. Look at you. You're giving off sparks. Is it your season? Is it your season? No, we're going to be modest on camera. We don't need to see any of that. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Give us your blessing. Do you want to sit in my lap? Would that be nice? Okay, so let's respond to the chat. Are you doing readings, Terry? Well, yes. I always, if you want a reading with me, you can go to my Etsy shop. It's in the description of every video. So yeah. Magnificent also says geese and swans are ancient symbols of shamanism and astral travel projection. Did you know that? I mean, it makes sense. I love geese. I love them. They're ornery. Yeah. I love when you see them walking in pairs too. It's so romantic. They're so cute. All right, so M says, lately I've been feeling a lot of heartache. Literally, my heart aches. Do you have any suggestions for dealing with or transmuting our emotional pain into something positive? I'll read your next comment before I respond to that. One reason for my pain is grief after an unexpected loss of a close loved one. Sometimes pain is a teacher, but this pain feels raw and uncontextual. Well, with death, it's okay to just, you are allowed to not be seeking something more than survival at this time. Mourning is real and people need to go through mourning. And it's not just an event. It's not just, a day. I mean, there's a reason why in olden times people would dress in black for a period to denote their grief. It was a symbol of what they were going through, and it gave people, an indication that you need to step off, you need to back off. Don't expect too much of this individual because they're going through something really devastating. It's very challenging, to keep going, because that's the thing, like when somebody is close to you that is gone, you just can't replace them. So what I would suggest for you is to, if you can, I don't know, sometimes it's about making peace with the spirit, doing things in honor. That can be a way of thinking of it. Maybe a project that you need to do, how can you make it be about them? Grief it's funny, it does things to people. I don't know. I mean, I found sometimes when I was going through really profound heartache, I had so much energy to just change things because I was so feeling a loss, that I could really just, it kind of shocks you in a way. I found that you can change what you're doing really radically, because a heartache it puts life into perspective, I think. So for you, I mean, what is it that you want to do? Is there something that, needs to be done, or that you would feel happier that you did? I mean, especially if you're dealing with the death of someone, maybe, then that should give you more indication of how much you need to live, because we all go at one point. So is there anything you need to get done in your life? And can you use their death as a motivation for that? Can you use their loss as a motivation for that? To get what you want, to get to achieve what you need to in this world before your time is up. Because you don't know when that is. And, you know, that's I think the reminder that death gives us as well. You know, there's a reason why I pulled this out, you know, the dark goddess. And now he's on top of the ceiling fixture doing his thing. It's so nice to have a kitty. It's not funny at all having a kitty. Okay, so let's do the next card. Someone is asking about my, I don't know, ethnicity, cultural background, I guess. Thank you. I love my cat's voice. It's very shrill and like piercing and sweet. Okay, so I've got 2 cards that have come out so far. Okay. I don't think all of these cards, yeah. Let's start there. We'll go from here and see how I feel. Okay. First card out was the 8 of Crystals. Oh my gosh. You know, when I think of this card, and it says synthesis at the top, I didn't even read that, synthesis. This is a lot. This is like a heavy wind. This is big. This is like very strong, forceful wind, very strong, forceful energy. It's interesting to think about how that opens it up. I mean, I think there's a message there about letting things blow away. Letting things be. Letting things go, letting things just be what they are so that the new can come in, allowing totally new ways of thinking and seeing things to come in. Like, be open to it, especially, you know, if you're trying to do something new, like, you have to be someone new, and that means you have to think in new ways. That kitty. All right, so then the next card we have is the Man of Crystals, which is the Inventor card. Yeah, I haven't really looked that deeply at this card before. Just looking at it. Inventor. So, yes. Look at everything going on there. It's really, it's okay. And part of being an adult, part of being wise in many ways, is being open and also understanding that there's always something new to be, there's always something new to learn, and that you have to be willing to reinvent redo things, rehash, bring things back, and you know, yeah, also the synthesis card as well makes me think too, these things coming together, like, go back so that you can go forward. Maybe you need to go back a bit. Maybe you need to go back to square one and go back to your mindset, go back to a time and place, go back to a person, go back to something that you think you already know, and be willing to take on new knowledge about it. Let's move on. I don't remember how I laid these out, so I think we'll just start from here. Then we have the Five of Wands. This card is about, or it's labeled oppression. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. Oppression. Now, the Five of Wands energy is about being. Hey, you are not nice. That's not nice. Come here. The Five of Wands energy is about being in conflict, being in struggle mode. But it's a struggle of wills more than a struggle of, beliefs, or like a hardship kind of struggle. It's more of a conflicting wills, conflicting desires, conflicting passions, if you will. And when our will is restrained, that is what oppression is, to have our very ability to decide for ourselves the course and direction of our lives. When that is being conflicted, that's when we begin to feel that we are in a position of oppression. Also thinking about this too, I'm thinking about the differences in like spiritual, when you're dealing with a spiritual issue, there's levels, and oppression is a level. This is where you are being influenced by spirits to your own detriment. And this can come up, with people who are troubled sometimes, which is part of the reason why you need to really kind of look at and keep really good relationships with the nature spirits around you. Even if you're in the heart of the city, those local trees, the birds, the pigeons, these are elemental spirits. You want to have good connections with these things. That is part of building your grid, okay? It's part of your force. So that's essential. You want to also be sure that you are keeping your space clear with sound, with movement, with life. You want to keep. Let me just say this: if you are in an older home, if your home is of a certain age, and you have spaces in it that sit idle, where stuff just sits and accumulates, where a movement isn't happening, these become spaces or areas that really retain a lot of negative energy. Those are attractive to negative spirits. They will congregate there. When I say negative, I mean detrimental to you and your life. So think about, the space you're living. What are you doing to keep the energy in such a way that you are attracting to yourself the kind of spiritual force around you that is conducive to your livelihood? Because you don't want to be in a state where you're being influenced and manipulated by spirits. And these can take many forms. So, like I said, just speak to that's the other thing. You can speak into your existence the kind of things that you want. So, we were talking about the dead earlier, or various spirits. You can call them to your home. You can call protective spirits to you. You just have to speak their names. Okay. So that to me is essential. You want to keep spiritually and physically in the world a sense of your own direction. And like also you have to be mindful of people that are oppressive, people that implant you with beliefs that are not, how do I put this? Someone I was listening to yesterday was speaking about this. Another YouTuber that I subscribe to on Patreon. She was talking about this actually. It's like when you listen to people, be mindful of what they are saying and be aware that just because there are kernels of truth in what someone is saying does not mean that the spirit of what they are speaking is for you or is positive for you, because a lot of people will say things that are true, but then they will say little things that are true sprinkled in with a very discouraging message. Okay, be aware of discouraging messages and be aware that you aren't taking in too many of them. People who are giving you messages that are harmful to you. Also be aware of the poison apple, which is interesting because I was thinking about like the nature animals, and I always go back to the mythology of Snow White. But I think it's essential here too. Like, be aware of people that are giving you, be aware of what is being offered to you when somebody offers you their friendship, when they offer you their advice, when they offer you their help even. Like, some people have sinister methods and reasons for doing what they do. And, you have to be really mindful about what people are offering as well. Make sure that you're getting what you pay for. I want to move on from this card because I don't like it. But those were some important messages, okay? Like, be mindful about where you are, what you're trusting. Like, and remember, trust yourself first. Nurturing is, there we go, the message of nurturing again. We have the Three of Worlds. This is also a card of teamwork. Teamwork, growth, fertilizer. Oh, look, our Saturn's there. Saturn. And the Voyager is, maybe I should hold the cards up over here. Well, yeah, they come in much more clear. It's difficult. I like reading at this time of day. This is my most magical hour, but I do need to get a new lighting set up here because that small ring just isn't working. Anyway, it's about growth. So the Three of Worlds, yeah. Oh, there's an elephant too. Elephants are so sacred. Elephants are incredible creatures. They're so wonderful. Look at that elephant. I don't know if you can see it that well. There's a baby and a mom. Yeah, they're both there. So Saturn, there's a bird. It looks like a roadrunner. Looks like the Earth and I'm not sure what other planet that is. But okay, anyway, I'm getting too wrapped up in the details of the card. Nurturing. You work with others. You put your best efforts into something. What you're putting your best efforts into will grow. Where your focus goes, will grow. So being aware of that, and really thinking about your time, your money, your energy as being important. Like, what do you really want to be feeding in the world? And are you feeding it? Are you thinking about the concept of tithing right now? Like, what are you giving back to? Are you giving back to what gives to you? Like, what triangles are you in as well? What triangles are you in? And are those triangles ones that are conducive to your growth? You want to think about your partnerships with people and what you're doing with people as well. Like, be critical of it and be mindful of, like, you want to have the type of relationships that foster, that bear really good fruits in the world, and be mindful of that you want to have something to show for your time, something to show for your efforts, having something to show for your efforts. And so to really, really, again, get back to the thing about nurturing is like providing soil, providing a space. Space is important. Providing space, providing the necessary ingredients for success, and continuing to go back to the same thing and to feed it, and to know that if you continue to feed it, it will grow. All right, and the last card we have here is the Priestess. This is a major arcana, the High Priestess. It's interesting too, because I know a couple of people, who have cats, and they always start meowing when they get on camera. And these women are like high priestesses, if you will. They're women who have a really considerable knowledge and have a very considerable message to give. And so I think of it sometimes when now, instead of having a negative view of him meowing like he does when he goes off incessantly, I think, okay, well, he is my familiar. He is, a guardian of my sacred temple. He is here protecting me. He is that type of force, in my life. So thinking about that and understanding that he is being vocal because the spirits are active. When I'm reading the cards, he's out and about. He has work to do. And, let's just thank your cats for being who they are. I'll say that, if you have a cat, like, be grateful for them. Anyway, back to the card. But yeah, it's necessary. The animals will act up when the spirits are around, and be aware of that. Like, listen to what your animals are telling you as well. Listen to what your instincts are telling you. Listen to what the natural world is telling you. What do you see? Today, in the natural world, I experience sun and wind and hail and spirit portals in the trees. And I experienced elders and, babies, and I experienced so much. And it was all saying something to me. It was all teaching me something about myself, something deeper. And listening to what you're experiencing, and really paying attention to what's going on in you and around you at this time, and listening to your inner knowing. What does your inner knowing say? What do you feel inside about something? And listening to that will tell you all you need to know about a situation, whether it's right for you or not. If something's not right for you, your internal mechanisms will go off. Also, the Priestess, we opened up with we have the goddess Skota. show up in the reading. All right. So, and there was that message about she only allows those who actually make the effort to come to her, to enter her aisle. So this is, about an even deeper awareness within you of your own sacredness. And it's also about, I think, the call of the feminine to withdraw from the world, to build your own world, to have your own aisle, to have your own sacred space, to have your own sovereignty, and the importance of that. And there was the card of integrity that came up as well too. I think these messages are all kind of merging in a way. Do you understand? Like, sometimes to have integrity, you need to withdraw. You need to step back from the world. You need to be inwardly focused, because only when you are inwardly focused can you remember who you are when you're in the world. There has to be a balance between the internal and the external worlds. They have to be balanced. And at this time, there is a struggle, I think, between these two worlds for many of us, and figuring out how we're navigating both of them. But I mean, the greatest message I can give you here is to not let one rule the other. Okay? Don't be so self-absorbed that you are incapable of working in tandem with others, but at the same time, and doing what's best in terms of like what you're building in the world with others. Keep that focus high, but also don't do it to the neglect of who you are, of what you want, of what you're personally trying to do, achieve, and be. Listen to your internal guidance. If something's going on and you really don't want to do it, don't do it. Okay? Like, be true to you. Be true to you, but also, think about what you're trying to achieve. Okay. I mean, and I think we're done with the reading. So let me just follow up with the chat. Thank you all for being here. Please do like the video if you haven't already. Okay, so let's see. I'm glad that my comments resonated for you, ma'am. Tyrone Jackson. I only send money to deposed Nigerian princesses who are on the run from assassins. Well, it takes all kinds. It takes all types in this world. It really does, It takes all kinds. So, thank you for helping people that most people would turn away. Reservoir of gore, like lying in the bath after all the water has drained out. Oh, I wish I knew what you were responding to. Alex, I had a tea reading once and the tea leaves made the exact shape of a guitar. It seemed like a clear message, but in life I've drifted away from music. To be able to, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to do something like that for you then. Maybe it's not a guitar specifically, but making sound is very, just filling the air with sounds you create is such a powerful feeling. So I would recommend you get back on that, okay? E-Valley, so true. Don't just assume that other people are acting in your best interest. Yeah. It's there's just there's so much out there that is discouraging, that is oppressive, that is, trying to keep you from doing what's best for you. Okay. And trying to put you back to sleep as well, trying to put you back into a default mode. Be mindful of that. And if anything is discouraging you, be mindful of that. I have to tell you, I get really frustrated with people who share really discouraging content, on the internet. Be aware of what you're consuming as well. Actually, don't scroll. For anybody who may be watching who has that problem, I know there's not many people here that are watching at this time, but I know people will watch on catch up. Be aware of what you are consuming. Be aware of what they're really saying to you. And is it in alignment with what you are trying to do, with what you're trying to get, what you're trying to achieve? Don't listen to discouraging messages. And be mindful that some people will give you a message, will give you some sort of tainted apple. When you again are hungry in this world, when you have the hunger within you, when you have that going on, and that kind of hunger to feel a passion, you will get a lot of offers that are not going to fulfill you. So be aware of what's being said, what's being offered. Also be aware of people trying to give you poison. Not everybody is looking out for you. Not even, you may find that some of them are your friends. You may find family does it. You may find people that have no reason to be doing that to you will. And you have to, again, be the judge of what you take in, what you actually digest. Magnificent says, interesting. I'm doing that in my life right now. I've recently stopped communicating with toxic family and withdrawing from an on-again, off-again relationship of 20 plus years. What are you doing? I really hope that's over. 20 years? That's your life. Be like Skota. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be but God, 20, that's your life. That's decades of your life. Do not let somebody back into your life until they give you what you ask of them, okay? What you are wanting from them, with both of their hands open. If they are holding back, again, do not take that apple. So many people just stay in people's lives out of habit, but you can't. Good for you. Anyway, I'm sorry, I don't mean to, but that is serious. Anybody watching this on catch up, okay? You may think that you've invested all this time with someone. You can't let them go because of that. Don't spend so much time on someone who isn't, willing to commit to you. So the next next thing that I wanted to address about that specifically too was the toxic word. I don't know about all of you, but I get kind of troubled when I hear us calling people toxic. And I'm not saying this specifically to call or to criticize you specifically for saying that, because I see a lot of people do it, and it's become kind of the norm to, refer to people or situations as toxic. But I want us to also think about that language and, think of maybe a better way to describe what people are doing. And because it's another label. it labels people, it labels a situation without actually talking about what's really going on. And this is about going deeper. This is about going deeper. So, I know we don't want to get into, well, what is abuse? Alex, I see Alex has said toxic equals abuse. I just would like us to think about, that language, toxic. Maybe we shouldn't be saying it so much. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't help people change. It's the kind of language that labels people, but doesn't help them to understand what they're doing wrong. And it reinforces, like, I think it reinforces like cancel culture and Puritanism as well. So like, because, it's another word that like people say, and then they stop thinking about like what's actually going on, So I think it's important to kind of be careful with that language. But I wanted to say that. Alex says, I believe in starting over and second and third chances. I believe in second chances too. Yeah. But like I said, both hands have to be open in order for a second chance to be available to someone, They can't be holding back anything at that point. If you come back into someone's life, you have to be very serious about what you're doing. And you have to have a plan, I think, of action. That's just how I feel about that. Like, because of, with women specifically, and I have most of my subscribers are women, like, do put themselves in these situations. So I feel very strongly that you have to have enough self-regard to be like the goddess Skota, and to pull yourself away from people who aren't really invested in keeping it together with you. But anyway, I'm going to get off that topic. So I do believe that people should be given second chances. I don't believe people are disposable. I don't believe that it's acceptable to call people trash, or to, refer to people in these disposable ways, because people aren't disposable. Okay. And everybody has problems, and everybody has things they need to fix about themselves, or I don't even fix is the right word. Everybody goes through stuff. Okay. We're all going through something. We've all been through something. So we all react and adapt to our environment in different ways. And so I think it's, just to be careful about how we're communicating about something. And, if somebody's behavior is so reckless, so criminal, so debased, we can get into maybe talking about what needs to be done about it as a community. But yeah, I don't feel okay with it. It's like they magically know when I'm struggling, and boom. Yes, that's precisely it. That is precisely it. It always becomes on and off again when I'm in a really low place. That's precisely it. I mean, when you feel low, that's when they get in. And you have to be reminded of that. Why does this individual only want me when I'm not at my best? Why am I only desirable to this individual when I am not desirable to myself? Board Cody is here to spread the good news, though. Well, thank you, Board Cody. I was saved, so I'm good. Thank you. E Valley says, fair enough. Toxic is often a word used to cancel people. Yes, it is. But I did specifically intend toxic in the sense that their pessimism poisons the people around them. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to justify it. I just was throwing it out there that I feel like we have to be careful about that language. And I wouldn't tell you not to use whatever language works for you, but I just see like words become more prevalent and then people who are unaware start using them willy-nilly. And it bothers me. That's all it does when I hear somebody who's like got a jillion issues start calling somebody else toxic. It gives you pause, because would you want to be labeled that way about the things that you're unaware of about yourself? So it's not kind language. It's not kind language. And it's, again, like I said, it's discouraging language. Because if an individual hears that you just think they're toxic, how does that help them grow? How does it help them change? It's not a constructive criticism, is what I would say about it. So it's not like saying, hey, I've noticed this pattern with you. Hey, what you did there made me feel this way. It's not, it allows people to be, less present. And if you were more present at the times when these things were happening, or if you address things better, I just think we all have room to grow. We all have room to improve. And the more we stand up and the more present we are, the more we speak out, when something is happening, the less that kind of thing can occur. The more aware we are of, and the more we slow down with people, the more we'll better be able to communicate about that. I mean, we should try to be loving, in this, because, we're all in this together, and, nobody is without sin. Nobody is without, flaw in this world. So I would just recommend that we take a step back and think about ourselves before we judge others. And that's the kind of word that I just feel it judges others. It gives them, it's judgmental without being constructive. So I just believe in constructive criticism. I know some people can't take it, but like, it's the most loving thing to do, to actually, when you tell someone what they're doing that you don't like, it's more helpful. I have been a violent communicator throughout my life, so I know why it's not helpful, I guess. That's why I get on that kind of train sometimes. And, I'm not perfect. I say things I shouldn't about people sometimes. I say things thoughtlessly. But the more awareness we can be about that, the more better we'll communicate as a people. So anyways, I will move on from there. Sorry, guys. You know how I get. I don't believe that practicing doing these practices has anything to do with sin. So I appreciate your, message there, but I also doubt if you truly believe that. But anyways, where is the line for when we need to do something as a community? As I was speaking before regarding the issues of a person's behavior. Well, I mean, that's a hard one. Okay, I think, I've said this before, but I don't think that you're ever going to have a world without things that happen that supposedly shouldn't happen. That you're not going to have an existence that is without people who are violent, people acting violently, people acting maliciously. I think when these things come up, that's something that does need to be addressed as a community. Somebody who is detrimental to the survival of the species, if you will. If somebody is being so, but it's difficult. I don't know if there is one answer to what is to be done in these situations. And I don't think I have all those answers. But I mean, society has its rules, and when people break the rules of society, things tend to happen. So I don't know. I mean, it's really up to a number of factors. And I do think that if somebody is, treating you badly, you have the right to, ask them to stop or tell them to stop. And then, you have the right to remove yourself from them. So I believe that that's perfectly acceptable. You should have that right, and you have the right to explain to other people why that is, what they were doing to you, what it felt. But you also have to understand that every individual is existing in a different type of reality. So from you, so you have to be mindful of what's happening to you in you, also what's happening in them to them. And, I don't have all the answers. I have thoughts, I have opinions, I have judgments myself about things, but I am not sure what needs to happen with people who are criminal. You know, that's even that word itself is a label, and I don't believe that every person who does things that are criminal per the law are in fact dangerous to society, and I don't believe that everybody who is abiding by the law is good either. So I mean, let's move on. Let's move on. I don't know if this person, I've seen several people asking whether I'm Jewish in the comment section. And I think it's really inappropriate. So, like, I don't know why you're asking me that. I don't know why it's relevant. I don't know why it's so common that people get on here and are being anti-Semitic. And I don't just mean on this channel, I've seen it elsewhere. But I've noticed it happen a number of times. I don't know if you're the same person or if, it's just something that goes on regularly, but it's disturbing to me. Honestly, I don't really understand why. Yeah, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't know why I'm being asked that, and I don't know why it would matter if I was. What if a lot of the same people doing the harassing are in the same organization? Evali, you're going to have to explain a little bit more to me for me to answer that question. What do you mean harassing? Are you being harassed? Is this regarding what we were speaking about before? Hi, Luna Granite. I love granite. It's one of my favorite stones. Alex says, it's a shame that our culture doesn't produce more kind and interesting personalities. Well, it's learn it, and you could be one too. I love stones. I'm fond of them ever since I was very small. I've always loved my rocks. They're beautiful, beautiful, exquisite things. Look at them. I mean, the earth made these. You have to dig deep, but you find treasure when you dig deep. Okay, let's keep our derriere off the camera. Okay. Okay, come on, let's keep that. Let's keep that. Oh God, why are you bringing up that organization? Why? Okay, that's a subject I just don't want to talk about, and the fact that I don't want to talk about it should tell you everything you need to know about that subject. And I think I'll just leave it at that. You know, that should say enough in response to E Valley. Why is it scary? Don't give them any power over you. It's not scary, just don't give it any power over you. It's not relevant. Don't make it relevant to your life. It doesn't have to be scary. Why is it scary? It's not scary. I mean, maybe I'm being scary. No one is willing to speak up about it, so it keeps happening. So I was wondering when we should do something as a community. Well, I don't really feel that I am part of that community. I don't feel that I have, I feel like I spent some time in that space, but I don't feel that that's my community. You know, I don't feel that those are my people. And it's not, if bad things are happening to any people, I don't like that. I don't like what I experienced. I don't like what I saw other people experience, but it's not something I want to dwell on. And honestly, like you're, I think the thing is just to recognize that that's not for you before you even get involved. Like really think about where you're going, think about what you're doing, think about what the people are like before you get involved in something, because maybe it's not really for you. It's not maybe they're not meant to be your thing. So we shouldn't warn people about the experiences we've had / heard with them. If you're concerned about someone you're speaking to, I mean, I think it's okay to share, like if you've had a negative experience or you've heard other people have as well. As a warning, sure. but I don't know like why I or anybody else would want to focus our time. Like, the thing is, like, some people have already gotten enough of your time. And that's how I see it. It's taken up enough of my time. Why do I need to why do I need to be wasting my time and energy on that? Like, I have moved on. It's in the past. You know, I'm happy that I'm not in that milieu. It's just weird to me that the biggest RF group spends so much time and energy dragging people, but I didn't know it wasn't your scene anymore. I hadn't seen you in a while, my bad. Well, I mean, I haven't been a part of that for a long time. You want me to stop talking? You want me to play with you? It's not been my thing for a while. I mean, I don't just mean the like radical feminist piece. I mean, are they the biggest group? I mean, are they? I don't know. Hey, baby. But I see we're talking about it now anyway. So, look, you've already done what you wanted to do, which was to bring more awareness of the thing that you're upset about. Honestly, I think that I mean, regarding them, I think a lot of the issue is that people aren't conscious about what they're getting involved in before they get involved in it. So maybe I would, don't put your cart before your horse. Think about what you're doing before you do it. Think about what you get involved in before you get involved in it. For me, it was a lesson learned. I can't be like angry that like things didn't work out my way because they have. I'm not bitter about things. I'm not holding on to grudges about things. It's not good to anyway. Like, learn your lesson and move on. That's what I would suggest. Lesson learned. Some lessons need to be learned the hard way. And that's what I would say, as an advice. Hi, baby. Hi, pretty lady. Me? Shucks. Someone think I'm pretty. Someone think your mama's pretty. What you think about that? Well, I don't know what you're talking about, E-Valley. I'm not familiar with this. I'm not clued in. So I don't know anything about it. I'm not really on social media right now, so I'm not watching anything. I stopped following a lot of pages a long time ago. I stopped being really interested in that world. So I'm not as plugged in about that stuff as people expect me to be. Love and respect from London, UK. Your mama went to London. Yeah, she went to London for RadFem 2013. Didn't she? So, that was pretty amazing. I was there at that time for a reason. I met the people I did. I had the experiences I did. And I think, I learned a lot of tough lessons in that world. And, you're in the dark feminine. Okay. I have to explain that to you as well. You're in a realm of the dark feminine when you're engaging in that kind of world. When you're in any respect that you are, and you have to have respect for the dark goddess, because your dark goddess's lessons are not learned by the faint-hearted, and they are not learned by those who are unwilling to go through painful initiations and discoveries. Okay, so when you are initiated into the the learning, the priestesshood, if you will, of the dark goddess. And I'm speaking archetypically here, okay? But I'm trying to get you to understand the way myth influences your reality. Okay. Like you are going to go through experiences with women in that world that are not pleasant because you are going through lessons that need to be learned. I mean, for me in my life, that's how I view situations that I'm in. And that's how I view my time in that. It was an initiation into lessons and knowledge about the dark goddess. Baby, don't knock over mama's boxes. I worked hard on my setup. I found something. Oh, God. It seems I can't ever escape my past, can I? We have to keep bringing up these, like, dinosaurs. I found some things about DGR concerning, so I threw the baby out with the bathwater. I just don't think I don't believe that civilization is a bad thing. I'll just say that. That's enough for me. I'm civilized. The wildest thing I ever did in my life was become civilized. I believe in civilization. I am pro-civilization. So I'll just say that, it's ideologically, I'm on a different end of the spectrum, so I don't vibe with that. I believe in nature as well, and I have a deep connection and respect for it and attachment to it. And I have so much of that I understand that the urban is part, the civilization is part of nature. Baby, because everything is part of nature. Everything. Okay, you need to stop being aggressive. It sounds like I'm caping for their treatment of women. Abuse isn't a lesson that needs to be learned. I don't think that, I just don't agree with you that I am caping. I didn't, in no way am I justifying the things that go on. In no way am I saying that, I think put my stamp of approval on what you're talking about here, but I'm not. I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying because I'm talking to you about the context I put my experiences into and how I move on from them, which is what I'm suggesting people do. What you resist does persist. What you give your energy focus to, it makes it stronger. The most powerful thing you can do is pull your sacred energy away. Because even like fighting with people sometimes is a waste of your energy. Sometimes it's better to just cut your losses. And like, I don't, there was a time in my life where I felt like, I need to do this, I need to stand up, I need to be the one. And I don't. Because honestly, like, how many times am I going to stick my hand in the fire before I learn that it's hot? That to me was the big awakening. Like, I have a responsibility to myself first and foremost. And what I would suggest is like learn when you go through a negative experience, when someone does something to you, you have to like at that time for yourself, pull back and look at yourself and learn something from it. Like learn about what you like, what you don't like, learn about what you did to contribute to that situation, and not be so focused on them, but be focused on doing your own work and being an ally to yourself. Because, I mean, some lessons need to be learned the hard way. You know, sometimes you need to learn the hard way to look into things deeper before you get involved. Sometimes you need to like look into what's really going on with something and actually use your discernment and be present instead of being so desperate to be around women and to be in a woman only space that you neglect yourself, that you aren't being fully present because you're just so hungry for that. You know, if that is something to you that is a desire, you need to really try to build it for yourself in your own community, in your own world. You can't be so focused on somebody else trying to provide that for you. Now, anything else that's going on, I just don't have enough knowledge of to really comment on. But I think this message is applicable in many situations. So I would just say you need to, when you go through something negative, think about what happened in it, what you were doing, what you could have done differently, so that the next time you're in a situation that gets a little funny, you remember what you need to do differently. I mean, that's the best advice I can give. I'm here to we need to move past that stuff, you know? It's not productive. X says, I'm a gay boy, but I sense similar associations with your thoughts. Why would that be? What do you mean? What do you mean? What thoughts do you sense similar associations with? There is an obnoxious honking outside. Well then, if nobody else has anything to say, I'm ready and willing to wrap up and, play with my kitty, for some time about X says about being yourself first. Yeah. You have to be true to yourself first. Your number one responsibility in this world is you. So if you aren't doing that, if you're letting other things come in the way of that, that's on you. And it's a lesson to learn. And, if something isn't productive to you, isn't helpful to you. I mean, that's the thing, about this kind of matter that we've been discussing the past 10 minutes or so. Mind the business, mind your business, and what that means in and of itself is that you have a responsibility to be taking care of you. And if you are making this stuff your business, you have to really question why. You have to really question why this is your business. And you have to like really think about whether your business is going to be a productive, fruitful effort, or if you're going to come up with nothing from it, which is what I think a lot of this is. So, like, I don't really have, I mean, it's, I don't know. I just don't, I don't have a desire to be in it. Or, it's not good to be off focus. You put all your energy into this and it's just not good. Valley, I think you're saying a lot of things that you should probably say, under your own name. Because I think it's unfair for you to be on my live stream saying this kind of stuff. Okay, I do. That's what I think. I think you're on here saying some stuff about people, about organizations, right? Using my platform to get your message out. And I think that's unfair. This is not a matter, your beef with them, other people's beef with them is not something that I want brought to my channel. I think I've made it clear where I stand. And I also think that it's important for women to put things into an appropriate context. And if you've been taught a lesson, maybe you needed to learn a lesson. I learned many lessons through my time and all of my experiences in that realm, in that world. Maybe some people do need to learn lessons. This is not me caping for them. This is not me, being like a supporter in any sense, but this is me saying that, I was not at that time prepared to be doing or involved in the work that I was trying to be doing or involved in. So, I am glad things worked out the way they did. I'm glad that I've learned. I'm glad that I've grown. I'm glad. I don't bear ill will to the past. So I just don't think it's fair that somebody would come onto my platform, this way under a pseudonym. I don't know who you are. You could be anyone. You could be one of their members for all I know. And you could be stirring up something that way. So, just that kind of thing, like, do it on your own platform. If you have a problem with, an organization, a person, an individual, I don't know that this is the place for that, and I don't want it to be. Because the kind of things that I think are better to talk about here are those which apply to everyone. Kiara says, you have a very soothing speaking voice. Yes, I do. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, yeah, I had someone tell me that today, actually. I have people tell me it regularly because I use my voice a bit. So Zip says, these damn foreign people took my job. Well, time to get a new one. Sorry, Zip. I don't know what made you think life was fair. I don't know what made you think that you could rest on a job. I don't know what made you think that, like, you could just coast. But You got to get yourself out there. You got to compete in this job market out here. It's serious. There are many jobs available out there. A lot of places are hiring. You'll be okay. You will be okay. All right. And if you won't be okay, well, it's time to, take stock. How did you get in this situation? Do you need to learn some new skills? I would suggest, if you haven't been watching this entire time, that you go back and rewatch the reading at the beginning of this video before the video became informal, because there are some messages for you in this tarot reading. I will say that. There were some definite messages that would resonate in your situation. Isn't McDonald's paying like $80 an hour now? No, they're not. I don't know. No, they're not. Nice try. Nice try. But you know what? A job is a job. And if you're on here complaining that someone took your job from you, when there's plenty more out there that needs to be done, you need to get a grip. And you shouldn't just be resting on that. But, I don't know. I don't have much patience for that. I know what it's like to go, not a very long time without a job. I've always just, I'd take a job. Having one, was always important to me, that I never let myself be I never rested in that I don't have a job kind of thing. I always was when I didn't have a job, I was on it, until I got one. When I was in that, kind of that space. So I just, I think if you had somebody take your job, watching a live stream on YouTube is probably not your priority. Maybe your priority is looking for a job. So I know this is harsh advice, but just put that out there. But, in the UK, it now costs $80 to drive to the McDonald's. Lol. Well, you know what? You're in London and there are trains and buses everywhere. You could even take the boat. I did that when I was in London. I got on the boat transport using the Oyster card. There's some boat you can take on the river. That was dope. Get over here, you little fat boy. You don't talk to me that way. You don't talk to me that way. I think a 10-piece Nuggies is $79.99. Y'all are nuts. Hey, be concerned with public decency. Be concerned with public decency. Well, now that the chat has degenerated to foreigners took my job and McDonald's is too expensive, I'm going to be heading out. But thank you all for being here. And hopefully the messages, will resonate not only with you now, but for those watching, luckily in perpetuity. And with that, I will make my departure and, be with my Nero. All right, have a good evening, and thank you for watching.